what evil lurks in the hearts of men.
Turn your dial to find the frequency of the past.
Captain Midnight.
Where the classic stories of mysteries, sci-fi, thrillers, and suspense are found waiting to be heard once again.
Another case for Nick Carter, Master Detective.
You'll find a variety of those stories here, in their original form, where each episode takes you to another place or time.
The Man of Bronze, Doc Savage.
But only when you find the mystery frequency. Available everywhere.
The Shadow knows.
Time for a break from our show to pay the bills. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need, all in one place. You can provide feedback, listen, support, share, enjoy these. We have our Patreon there. You can buy us a beer or a coffee. You can check out our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks. Check out our YouTube page. You can email us. You can listen to our podcasts on Patreon, if you're a subscriber, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Podbean. We have Google Podcasts on there. We have an Amazon wish list. You want to buy Kyle and I something? Fine. You can do that here. We appreciate it. We have Kyle's RPG podcast listed on there, so you can check out his Dork Day Afternoon offerings. We have Cowabunga links, so you can check out the Cowabunga Deep Discount FOC and pre-order list. Get on that. That's RLCS, so you can check that out as well. And we want to just give you opportunities to say hi, to check out what we're doing, support us if you would like, or just listen. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need. Thanks. Back to the show.
Aloha! It's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing writer Gabe Valentin. He is here to promote his latest book, Digital Lizards of Doom, Level 3, Dana Deathly. It is from Paper Cuts and input from Mad Cave Studios, and he will be talking about how he is teaming up with the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii. Gabe, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
to be
you
here.
very much. Yeah, thank you. Now, listeners, I'm going to give some background information about Gabe. Gabe, feel free anytime to jump in to add anything or correct me, and it's no problem. Don't worry. Now, Gabe is also a creative designer, producer, songwriter, and a show host. Forbes magazine praised Gabe's accomplishments in a recent interview where the interviewer discussed how Gabe was able to transform his love for pop culture, such as video games and comics, into a successful children's brand known as Digital Lizards of Doom. He is partnering with are you still partnering with comic books for kids, the nonprofit?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely,
cool.
yeah. We love them.
Yes, and what this nonprofit organization, it distributes comic books and toys to more than 200 children's hospitals in the United States and the United Kingdom. That is so awesome. Gabe,
Cool.
I'm gonna ask, do you want to add anything that I missed, or you want to add, or I know I just kind of ran through everything, but do you want to add anything else or explain a little bit more about anything?
I mean, there's so many facets to Digital Lizards of Doom, and or we call it DLOD for short.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, what we're always trying to do is we're trying to not just expand this universe, but as we expand this universe, the whole point and the purpose behind these stories is to remind people to tap into their imagination and their creativity and give them the tools to do so. So that's why we work with a lot of organizations like Comic Books for Kids and Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii, and hopefully other Boys and Girls Clubs are soon to come. We've been talking to other locations as well. So our whole goal, our whole mission is to remind people to not lose track of their creativity and not lose track of their imagination, because we truly believe that through creativity and imagination, we can solve the world's problems. And I know people might think that's cheesy or laugh at that, but it's what we believe, and we've seen it work so far. So that's what we're trying to do.
No, but that's great. And in some sense, I'm just talking off the top of my head, Gabe. But in some sense, if we lose that creativity and imagination when we grow up, it kind of hardens our hearts,
It does.
and we start looking at things um, pessimistically, or no, that's not gonna work. We start shutting down things. But if we start keep imagining, have sort of like an open mind of being creative, imaginative, we can come up with solutions.
Yeah, there's a really cool question that I forget. It was Jace Hall from Twin Galaxies was actually the first person to tell me about this. But you ask somebody a question and you say, "All right, I have an elephant and I want you to put this elephant in this refrigerator. How would you do it?" So when you ask, and the difference seems to be pretty unanimous when you ask a child versus asking an adult. So when you ask an adult,
Yes.
the adult says, "Oh, I'd chop it up, or
Yeah.
I would stuff it in there, or I'd do this, right?" And then you ask a child, and the child says, "Oh, I would tell him his family's in the refrigerator. I
Mhm.
would I would say, 'Hey, come in the refrigerator and I'll read you a cool story.' I would find out what his favorite food was and I'd put it in the refrigerator and tell him to go in there." And um the difference between those two answers is, so the adult, they're answering and they're assuming that there's a bunch of walls they're going to have to tear down before they can go in the refrigerator.
Yes.
And the child, they're not thinking about the walls yet. They're thinking about what's a fun, creative, imaginative way to get the elephant into the refrigerator. And then Jace Hall, or the person who's asking you the question, would say, "I haven't told you how big the refrigerator is yet."
Yes.
And the adults automatically, "Oh, it's a refrigerator. Oh man, and they just start putting up all these walls that might not even be there, and they
Yeah.
start hindering their own success because of their lack of creativity and imagination. So for me, I try to reinforce that. And I want not only to reinforce that in children, but also reinforce that, help adults find that again. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Excuse me. That's pretty good. That is awesome. That is awesome, Gabe. Okay. I'm going to move us along. Before we begin the interview, I want to give a big shout out to James um, Facentino. Hopefully, James, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. He's a publicist from Mad Cave Studios. James, thank you very much for help setting up this interview and giving me digital copies of the Digital Lizards um, Doom Level 1, Dizzy Doom, and Digital Lizards of Doom Level 2, Commander Echo. Gabe, do you want to give a shout out to James or add anything to that?
Oh, James is the best. I've been working with James for over a year now,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally got to meet him in person at Comic-Con this
Oh,
year.
okay.
And so it was so cool. He's a gem, man. He's really cool and passionate about what he does. And everyone on the Paper Cuts team that I've worked with is just a stellar human. So it's really cool.
Right, that's nice. Okay, where can listeners follow you on social media?
Um, Digital Lizards of Doom, all one word. Um, and that's, or DLOD World, DLOD World as well.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those tags work. Um, I'm I'm not I'm personally not on social media a lot, but if someone sends me a message, it's brought to my attention, and I always make sure I get on there and talk to people about it. So yeah, if you want to reach out, probably Instagram is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and or dizzydoomkids.com
Mm-hmm.
if you want to learn more about our programs and what we offer and what we're doing with Boys and Girls Club. So
Thank you very much. Okay, I just I'm going to ask you some brief questions. If you could just talk a little bit about Digital Lizards of Doom. Like for new listeners, what is the premise of this series?
Yeah, so drop in. No,
Yeah.
so it's the whole story is about an ancient pineapple demon who traps a bunch of characters from another dimension
Hmm.
inside a video game simulated universe. And
Yes.
so the story opens with Pineapple Pete is his name, and Pineapple Pete's talking to the reader, and he has invited the reader to come in and help him play this video game because he's noticed there are some things that are not quite right with the world. There's things that will suspiciously go missing
Hmm.
or errors. He'll find errors in the game, and you find more of these errors as you go on and you read the book. So each book is a different level that the characters are going on. So like level one is, book one and so
Yes.
on and so on.
Hmm.
And then once we get to book eight, which is the final boss, um, so there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's a lot of clues.
Hmm.
Everything, almost everything is a clue. We're about to start pre-production on book eight right now.
Wow. Hmm.
And so every book was written ahead of time. So I wrote all eight books in one sitting, basically.
That's
So
good. Hmm.
it's one long continuous story. And we're starting production on book eight, and it's funny because obviously I wrote it, so but time goes on and you get busy and you work on other things, and I'm cross-referencing things that are happening in book one,
Hmm.
and I'm stoked because I'm like, man, people are gonna lose their minds when they see how many there's different, like we use different patterns,
Yes.
storytelling patterns
Yes. Hmm.
to bring attention to different sentences and such. We use a lot of visual imagery, Easter eggs, even even like when we make an homage to something, it's never an accidental homage, just like, oh, that fits here. Like every word has a purpose. If you're reading the book and it sounds like that's a weird way to
Hmm.
say that sentence, you're right. That
Hmm.
that you're correct, and you should pay attention to what that sentence is saying because you're gonna start basically decoding the book, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, once people get to book eight, it's going to be a pretty cool reward if you've been paying attention from book one all the way up. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I have to say that's amazing that you already have the complete story written out, not just outlined. And I think I mean it's just because often because you see the whole thing in you complete the story in one sitting.
Yes,
Great, and then and then because I'm sure when readers read this, they're not going to go, "Oh, wait a minute, but didn't he do this in book two? Why is this kind of different?" And I think what's also kind of nice too is that um because I'm going to ask, how often is each book released? Is it like every 6 months or so, or or
it's every 6 months. Yeah, so it's a pretty gnarly
schedule?
production schedule.
Yeah, but it's
It's like as soon as we finish a book and we get it for print, we are already in the middle of the next one. So I work on three books at a time. So I'm rushing from different
yes,
productions.
and
And what's really cool about D-Lot is um so each book, because it takes place in a video game world,
yes,
each book has a different artist. So what's
yes,
happening is because why that happens is because without giving anything away, we find out who it is in book three.
mhm,
But the reason Pineapple Pete has invited the reader to help him figure out who's messing with this game is
mhm,
because there's this outside entity who is manipulating the graphics cards on
mhm,
each level. So
mhm.
every time this person changes the graphics card, it changes how the artwork looks in the book. So
Oh,
it's really fun. So
oh,
it's the
that
same story, but the graphics or artwork are constantly changing, and the
yes,
the characters are starting to pick up on that. Well, one character specifically, and then there's a couple other characters who, well,
Um,
figure some stuff out too. But
you have an amazing list of cast of characters, but I'm just gonna add. I just can you? I'm going to just let me ask about two of them because I want to move on to how are you? How these your series is with the education program and so forth. But I want to ask about um Dizzy Doom. Is that your main character or is it Pineapple Pete?
I mean, it's hard, right? Like, who's the main character of Star
Yeah,
Wars? It's kind of a similar
that's
thing.
true.
Um, the Digital Lizards is definitely an ensemble. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I would say Pineapple Pete is the main villain.
Hmm.
Um, and then we have Commander Echo and Wardy Morta, but Dizzy Doom, he's the glue of the story for sure.
Okay.
I would say he's the closest thing we have to a main character. Um, but the but yeah, he's the part of us that represents that beautiful wonder and the character who wants to always do the right thing, the part of us who wants to
Hmm.
be triumphant and victorious and
Hmm.
help other people. So
Yes.
he's that character and he's the one who
Hmm.
brings everybody together.
Because I'm because I read part of volume one and I love I'm not gonna I just want to say this. I love the part where Dizzy Doom goes, we need to do something bigger. And his friend goes, well, what do you mean? We're helping the planet. He goes, no, there's a whole universe out there.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thanks,
I love
man.
that where it's just because I mean because in some sense it's almost like um because and I think and you correct me if I'm wrong, but because when we start growing up, all we want to do is take care of our own thing, our own
Hmm.
little world, and even our own family. That's it. But if we hear a neighbor down the street that needs food, sometimes some adults go, no, that's their problem. You know,
Yeah.
some adults that never lose that sense of helping others, they'll bring food to that person
Yeah.
because because that's still in some sense that's outside of the adult world and it expands it to their neighborhood, which is also the universe too,
Yeah. We're all
right?
in this together.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Um, I am gonna jump to now. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, um, the Dizzy Doom Kids, is that the education program that's set up, or is that what it's called? Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong on
Oh, no, no, yeah, that's Dizzy Doom Kids is an extension of Digital List of Doom, and its main focus is the educational portion of these stories and highlights our curriculum that we launched originally with the San Diego Unified School District, and which is
that.
now available to all school districts across the country.
Mhm.
So
That
yeah.
is nice. I'm I'm just asking, like, how did was this part of your plan when you wrote the Digital Lizards of Doom, or did someone go, hey, Gabe, this would be kind of good if we could help the kids in school, um, strengthen their reading skills, and not only just their reading skills, but because I remember reading, I think in the press release about trying to enhance their social and emotional learning capabilities. So, you want to talk a little bit about the origin of how this came about?
Yeah, I mean, so when I was writing the books, and as you saw in the format, I wanted to create something that educators and teachers, and not even just educators and teachers, but any parent could just pick up and easily give their child to
Yes.
help encourage reading. Because I was just hearing for many years, I would hear from so many different people like, my kid doesn't read, my kid doesn't read, my kid doesn't read, my students
Hmm.
don't read, whatever it was. I kept hearing that over and over again. But having nephews that
Hmm.
are nieces and nephews that are young, and I'm watching them play video games, and I'm a big kid myself, so
Yeah.
I love hanging out with kids and like talking to kids because I think they're on a different level, and it's
Hmm.
so cool. and I'm listening to them talk, and I'm watching them play their games, and I'm watching them on social media. I'm watching them interact with the world as they see the world. And I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm going, they read all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're reading comments on Instagram. They're they're reading and executing orders on Fortnite, or whatever game strategy games they're playing, and they're talking in code. They're coordinating. They are working together. They are executing commands. They're giving, directions. I'm like, they're reading a lot. You're
Mm-hmm.
just not giving them something that is capturing their attention.
Yes.
So I came up with this format, which was, why don't I make a story that has basically that delivers the saga in
Mm-hmm.
a text to text, almost like an in-game text format,
Yes.
fully loaded with emoticon. They love to kids all about their emoticons because it delivers the emotion quicker and
Mm-hmm.
faster. And so that's how they're learning their information. So for me, I'm like, how do I create a story
Yes.
that is literally designed for them, for their
Yes.
generation, speaks their language?
Yes.
And so that's where the format came from. And that was my original goal. But then it's funny, it's actually happened exactly how you mentioned, because a friend of mine, he's a very well respected teacher in the San Diego
Mm-hmm.
Unified School District. His name is David Ebert, and he's the one who actually created the curriculum.
Oh, okay.
And he had the book, and he said, he's like, hey man, I have a couple struggling readers in my class who don't sit still, who have a lot of behavioral issues,
Mm-hmm.
and they're sitting still and they're loving your book. So have you thought about making a curriculum based on the
Mm-hmm.
book? And I literally laughed out loud, dude. I was like, there is no way I'm adding a curriculum to my plate right now. This is like
Yeah.
way too much stuff. I have way
Uh-huh.
too much going on. And so he was like, would you mind if I did it? Like, would you mind if I went ahead and made the curriculum? And I said, oh
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
So he did that. And then that was in 2021. And he kept giving me data
Mm-hmm.
and feedback saying, hey, just so you know, I know you just said you don't want to make a curriculum, but I have a new set of class, I have a new set of kids, and they responded to the book in this way. And I have a new set of kids, and they responded to the book in this way. I think you have something here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, this is really interesting. So then I went to the school district about it. We started talking about it, and then we started developing this curriculum. And yeah, now here we are. Now we're doing it's six, each book has 16 lessons in it. So now we're doing all
Mm-hmm.
8 books,
Yes.
and all 8 books have, well, the curriculum also or the book already came with a soundtrack. So
Oh, okay.
each book has a orchestral album that goes along with the story. So
Uh-huh.
it also introduces the kids to classical music and helps engage
Yes.
um, neurons in their brains, that helps them allow and makes it easier for them to pick up and absorb the information as they're reading the story. So it's this all inclusive
Mm-hmm.
um, product, and that's how it got started. And then that once we opened that box, that Pandora's box,
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of took on a life of its own, and here we are. It's really really cool, man. I this was always the goal, to help people, to create
Yes.
something that enriched people's lives, and I never thought it would be where it is now. Like it's mind blowing. It's so cool.
I have to say that's amazing, Gabe. That's amazing because I only can imagine going, okay, I just want to write this cool story so my nieces and nephews and maybe their kids around their age can read it and just read, because
Yeah,
it's on their it's it's where they're at, you know, and you're
meeting them
communicating.
where they're at. Yeah,
Yeah, and just for someone to go, hey, your friend goes, wait a minute, we can use this in the schools. And you're going, holy cow, what? you know. All right. I want to continue to move on because I don't want to keep you too long. Now, how did you team up with the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii?
So, I have another friend who I was simply telling about the work we were doing in San
Yes.
Diego Unified, and I have a friend who introduced me to Lala Fernandez um, at the Boys and Girls Club, and she is this angel on earth,
Mm-hmm.
this amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
And we met and we just got along very quickly. And she just said, we want this here. Can you pitch it to the board? So we went ahead and we did. We pitched it to the Boys and Girls Club, and they're like, we want to purchase this. We want to bring this curriculum to the island.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So so we did, and then we actually worked with one of the Boys and Girls Club has this event called Youth of the Year every
Okay.
year. And so we actually worked with one of their runner-ups. Her name is Tessa, and she's this brilliant artist. And her dream is to be a comic book artist. So we got in contact with her, and then we were able to. We actually commissioned her to do um, a digital Lizards of Doom. We sent her a bunch of books,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got her to commission her to do a digital Lizards of Doom poster
Mm-hmm.
for an exclusive San Diego Comic-Con poster. So her artwork ended up being at our booth at
Oh
San
my
Diego Comic-Con, and yeah, that's what we're trying to do, man. We're trying to make dreams come true, and we're just trying to put good energy out there, and
God.
yeah, it's crazy. And so yeah, we've been building an amazing relationship with Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii, and I think that's going to be a relationship that lasts a long time. We're all really excited about it. So
That's really nice. All right. Um, a fun question, because since you're working with the Boys and Girls Club of Hawaii, did you come to Hawaii? Did you have to come around, look at the to do presentation at the board and
that was all virtual, but we are right now we're setting something up for early next year. So early next year we'll be coming out to Hawaii, and we'll be doing something. We'll be making a visit. We're gonna
oh,
try to we're gonna try to go to all the different Boys and Girls Club locations. So we're really excited about it.
that's gonna be nice. That is gonna be so nice. I just wanted to let you know we have about 5 more minutes, and like I said, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to keep you more than that. Um, you talk about the curriculum I'm just saying, let's say, and I'm not making fun or anything or being sarcastic, but let's say
Of course.
let's say if there's someone in Ohio, that go, I wonder if this could work in my classroom.
Yeah.
Where can teachers or other after school programs pick up this curriculum or purchase this curriculum, I should say.
Yeah. So right off the bat, if you just go to
Mhm.
dizzydoomkids.com, um, that right away you will be able to read about the curriculum. You can access it through that site as well. We can send you a demo. There's everything you need to know is on that site. Um, there's quotes from students who have gone through the curriculum. There's quotes from teachers and principals who
Mhm.
have recommended the curriculum as well. So yeah, everything you need is on that site. And if you want to just get a demo of it, we have a demo available for download for free. And if you want to actually incorporate it into your classroom, it's few simple clicks, and we can make that happen as well.
That is so nice. Um, we've already talked about you've already talked about how amazing that you wrote this series again with just to have kids to read, and now it's really have grown to help. It's expanded to school districts, after school programs. Um, because the question I want to ask is like, what was the most fun or exciting besides all that? What's the most fun or exciting thing that you love working on this series? Yeah.
Wow, I think for me, because I'm a storyteller, I think giving people a story they've never heard of before, like they've never experienced, they've never heard of before, and the twists, coming up with the twists and the turns, and
Mhm.
um, seeing people's reaction when they find something new or they discover something, and it's always priceless. I had I just did a meet and greet here in San Diego a little bit ago, a couple weeks ago, and there was a young reader who he had read the first two books and was very excited about the third one. And he was asking me all of these questions. And he was like, so, how does an atomic pineapple work,
Mhm.
really? And how does this work? And all this stuff. And that's the coolest thing in the world to me because, someone's paying attention, they're listening. And then
Yeah.
he was picking up on the hints. He was like, so this he's like when there's a character we have called Shaky Spears, and he's like, so Shaky Spears, um, she's gonna she can like talk to plants, right? So we've
Mhm.
established she can like talk to plants, and I'm like, yeah. And he goes, was she talking to the engine in the first book? Because she said something about the engine was broken or making noise, and I'm like, he's paying attention. Like I was like, yeah, you're just gonna have to keep reading, man. That was really cool. So
That is so awesome. That's so cool. That is really cool.
but I would say that's my favorite part is watching people's reaction and especially when they get it too, or even if they don't get it and they have a question and they need something explained to them
Hmm.
and then watching like their eyes light up. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So that's the best.
Um, two more questions. What is your next store or convention appearance, or your next appearance either for the remainder of this year or starting in 2025? You already mentioned the Boys and Clubs of Hawaii that your guys are planning something next year.
Yeah, that'll probably be the next thing. I think that'll be in January or February at some time. Um, I think I just wrapped up my 22nd convention this year since January. So yeah, this this year was heavy. So I think for 2024, everyone's starting to go on vacation and stuff too. So
Yeah.
I think most of the stuff is wrapped up for now,
Mhm.
but yeah, Hawaii will probably be the next thing that we do.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. All right. Any closing words to our listeners?
I would say try to make something today or try to imagine something today. Try to try to create a world or imagine yourself in the world that you wished you lived in and see what you could do. One thing, if you could do one thing today to make your current world closer to the world that you're imagining. That's what I would like to leave people with.
Gabe, that is the perfect way to close this interview. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for giving me, actually, mahalo, for giving me an opportunity to interview you. I wish you continued success with the Digital Lizards of Doom series and working with young kids, whether it's through, school districts, after school programs. I wish you continued success. I want to thank James of Mad Cave Studios for help setting up this interview and all his hard work behind the scenes, and also providing me with some of the reading copies to prepare for this interview. Um, if you are a new comic book fan or a lifelong comic book fan, and you want to have your young readers you to read more, I, I encourage you to pick up, Digital Lizards of Doom, the first level or volume 1, to give it to your to your children or to your niece or nephew, you know, and like Gabe has said, he wrote it he wrote it this series to at their level where they can they can um and it's great. It really is. So if you guys get a chance, please pick up, a copy of the Digital Lizards of Doom series. Where now this interview is going to come out close to probably end of November, close to December. It's great to give as a Christmas present or even as just as a gift, throughout the year. So if you guys get a chance, please do that. I want to thank Drew, the host of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
Our LCS is Cowabunga Comics, Lake Country, Wisconsin's best pop culture destination for new comics, back issues, gaming, retro video games, vinyl, and figures. Give them a call, 262-569-9999. Check them out online at cowabungacomics.com or follow them on Twitter at Incredicow. They are our LCS, and we utilize their deep discount mail order service to bring Oconomowoc, Wisconsin closer to us. They'll take care of you. Tell them Drew and Kyle sent you. Say hi to Eric and James from us. If you need an LCS, you can't go wrong with Cowabunga Comics.